Hello K-Divas, and welcome back to this video. This is going to be the pattern tutorial for this 3-part corset top I have on here, and it has detachable sleeves as well, so it's super versatile. I've broken down this project into 2 videos. In this video I'm going to be sharing how to make the sewing patterns from scratch using my measurement, so you can follow along with your measurement on that of your client to achieve the result. In the upcoming video I'm going to be sharing how to cut and stitch everything together, so stay tuned for that. I'm so obsessed with the outcome. It's super flattering. It's in one of my favorite colors, which is yellow, so you know I'm in a good mood when I have this top on. So if you'd like to see how I made the patterns, make sure to keep on watching. Give this video a thumbs up if you end up enjoying it. Share it with your sewing community and subscribe and join the K-Divas fam if you haven't already. With that being said, let's get into this tutorial. To create this top, I'm going to be working with this yellow and black Ankara cotton print. I ended up using about 1.5 meters. I also have a matching plain cotton in black to line the top. And then I have a set of underbust wire. I am a B cup, so I just got everything in that size. I also got bust pads because I want to be able to wear this top without a bra underneath. And in addition to that, I have bias tape, which is going to help me to create my boning tunnels on the right side of this top. In addition to this, I have myself plastic boning. I just got a lot of this because I've noticed I've been working with boning a lot, so it's just good to have some backup. These are the measurements I used to create this corset design. Please work with yours or that of your client for the absolute outcome. I'm going to be making the sewing patterns from scratch, and I like to start from the front. I'm going to be creating the front pattern plan, and I have a long vertical line that I've already drawn here, and on top of that line I'm going to be drawing a horizontal line. This is actually going to become my bust line. So next up, I'm marking the vertical distance from my bust line to my waist, and that I'm going to square across like so. Then I'm going to go to the bust line and mark half of my nipple to nipple measurement. I worked with 3.5 inches for this, and I'm going to draw a vertical line that cuts through this line. And then on top of that, I'm going to slant the line outwards like this. This is going to help me create the cups for this style. Now I'm marking 1 inch below my bust line along this nipple point, and I'm marking away ½ an inch on both sides to help me create the waist dart along this area of the front plan. And then I am going to go to the bust line and mark the vertical distance from my bust to my underbust. Mine is 3 inches, and I'm just essentially going to use that 3 inch to go around that entire nipple or bust point to create a circle. Once I have all of the dashed lines drawn in place, I'm actually going to connect the points together. I use my pattern master for this. If you have a bowl or anything circular, that could come in really handy. To help me shape the cup, I'm going under my underbust area, and I have marked ½ an inch on both sides, and this I'm connecting back to my waist dart. I think this is what really shapes the cup in a nice way. I'm going to connect that ½ an inch mark that we just did earlier on back onto the bust point, and this is going to help to create the curved inner edges for the under cups. Once I have those drawn in place, I'm going to go ahead and mark the distance from my top chest to my bust line. This is going to act as a guide for me, so I know that the neckline of the bust or the cup actually covers my bust to a point that I'm happy with. I'm going in here to mark ½ an inch below the bust line along this curved circular line that I've drawn earlier on, and I'm going to draw a dividing seam that goes from the ½ an inch point back onto the bust point on both sides. This is what is going to help me draw in the top cup. Now the top cup is 2.5 inches along the nipple line, and is 2 inches on the inner and the outer edges. Once I connect these points together, it's going to create the top cup, and because I had that up chest line, I know that it's going to cover my bust to a modest point that I'm actually happy with. I'm just going in here to draw an additional line that connects that top cup to the center front edge, and to prevent any gaping, I'm marking away 1 inch in this direction like so. The last time I did this cup style, I noticed that when I did not add this 1 inch that I'm taking away, that top cup was actually a little bit too loose. So at this point, I have my 3 cups drawn into my front plan, and I would need to go along the bust line to mark 1/4 of my bust measurement plus 1/2 inch ease, so I'm able to draw in the side seam of the front. Now I'm going to my waist line and I'm marking 1/4 of my waist measurement plus 1.5 inches. This ensures that waistline actually fits around me in a way that it is comfortable. So I'm connecting both points together to draw in my side seam, and then I'm going to extend the top cup line to the side seam. Now for that front hemline dip that I have on this design, I basically marked like 6 inches below my waistline, extended my side seam by an additional 1 inch, and connected them together to draw in the shape. You can make this as pointy or as rounded as you like, and then you would need to extend your dart to the hemline. The dart, or the amount I took away along the hemline, was about 1/2 inch total, so just be mindful of that. Can I just say that this plan actually gave me serious headache? I think I did it like 3 or 4 times before I actually got the shape that I was happy with. Before I trace off this top panel of the cup, I'm actually going to be folding away that neckline dart because I don't want to include that in my pattern. I'm just going to tape that down and get some fresh pattern paper and trace off the top edge. I'm going to transfer any notch points that are going to be important, and I'm just going to do this as short dashed lines. I can connect these later on. I'm also going to trace down the side like so, and the exact width of the top cup. Then I'm going to go in and open up the pattern again and trace off the bottom curved edge. It's actually important you retain that length, because if you don't, the 2 bottom cups will not fit into the top one. It's kind of like puzzle game at this point. So I'm connecting the top edge to the bottom edge like so, and I'm going to be drawing in the bottom curved of that top panel. And once I have this drawn in place, I'm going to go ahead to add seam allowance around my pattern piece. I like to work with 1 centimeter. You could work with 1 inch, 1/2 inch, whatever you are comfortable with. Don't forget to transfer your notches for points where things connect together, and your grain line as well. This is what the pattern is looking like so far. I'm going to grab my paper scissors and cut this out in preparation for the other 2 pieces that sit along the bottom. So now that I have this done, I'm going to set it aside and then trace off the bottom cups. So you have the under bust or the bottom cup on this side, and then you have the second one on the other side. Essentially, you need to cut 2 pairs of each, so you have a pair for each side of the bust. Once they're all connected together, everything should sit nice and neatly around your bust. If you've actually worked with your measurements, I always recommend making a 12 first if you're going to be working with an expensive fabric, so you can test out things before you work with your main material. I've also gone ahead to trace off the middle front panel, added my seam allowance, my grain line, and my annotations. This I'm going to be cutting on a fold. And then I have my side front piece that, once connected to the middle front, creates the room for the cups to sit into. Moving on to my back patterns, I'm going to be repurposing this front plan because why not? Save paper that way. And I'm going to be using a different color pen so you guys don't get confused. Now the hemline for the back is essentially straight, but it has to connect it to the side seam of the front. And then I'm going to be shaping in the center back by 1 inch because I want to create a little bit of room for me to add my lace up detail. So I'm just going to be drawing this as a straight center back seam like so. And then I'm going to be extending the waist dart all the way up to my bust point. So this is essentially just a triangular shaped dart that goes from the waist upwards to the bust point. And then the back neckline is going to sit along the bust line. This gives me a nice width in the sense of it's wide enough to cover my bra if I wanted to wear one, cover any part of my back that I don't want to show, and it connects nicely to the front of the top. So these are what the back patterns look like. I have my mid back piece. I've added a 1 centimeter seam allowance around, including my annotations and grain line. I also have this side back piece, and this is what that is looking like. You could divide that side back piece into an additional like set of patterns if you wanted to, but I'm just going to keep my patterns like this for now. These are all of the patterns I ended up with for the front. I have a total of 5 patterns, and I have 2 patterns for my back. The other pattern I made off camera is actually optional, but I made a modesty panel which is going to sit on the center back, and it is about 5 inches wide and is the same height as that middle back piece. This I'm actually going to cut and reinforce, so when I have it underneath my lacing, you don't see any skin underneath the corset top. I hope you guys enjoyed watching this pattern tutorial. The next video is going to be the sewing tutorial, where I show how to cut this onto fabric, stitch everything together, and then show you the final result at the end. So please give this video a thumbs up, subscribe so you don't miss the notification for the next video, and until next time, have a good morning, afternoon, and evening wherever you are. Bye.